Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the F1 My Team career mode here on F1 22. Firstly, let me say thank you for coming back and apologies for the delay in the return of the save. As you may well have seen from the community post I made a few days ago, you will know I was in Canada. I came back from Canada with a gift in the form of COVID that had me flattened for about 10 days. So it's been a little while in A, recovering, and then B, recovering to the point of being able to make content. So that's why there's been like a 2-week gap between videos. I do wholeheartedly apologise, but I'm sure you guys understand. A number of you will have had COVID yourselves over the past 2.5 years or so. But we are back now, and hopefully you guys will continue to show the same level of support to this save as you were showing previously. You join us in Belgium for the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's one of my favourite tracks to race, but not one of my strongest tracks to race. There's been some hoo-ha, so to speak, some uproar from the community about the most recent patch as well that I haven't yet experienced, that I'm going to experience for the first time in this weekend. So we'll wait and see what happens, mainly around AI competitiveness being too high or a step on from where it was, and gear ratios with automatic gears and not changing gear at the right time. We'll find out throughout the course of this stream, and hopefully if there are issues I'll try and keep them to a minimum in the edited highlights. But please do drop the video a like if you enjoy, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more. See all the behind the scenes and the streams in their entirety and the footage in its entirety over on Twitch. Link in the description down below. Do come and join me live for these, but of course feel free to continue to enjoy the edited highlights here on the ChesnoidPlays YouTube channel. Again, thank you so much for showing your continued support to the save. Apologies about the difference or the delay in getting the content to you, but I'm sure you understand. So, indifferent, it says initially here on the advanced tab, it said that qualifying and race is full sun. However, if we have a look at the weather forecast, it does reckon there might be some rain, a smattering of rain here or there at the beginning of qualifying and the beginning of the Grand Prix. Whether it's enough to force wet weather tyres, I don't know. How accurate it is, we don't know, as we've found out throughout the course of recent episodes, specifically at Hungary, actually, in the last race that we didn't do that well in, unfortunately. We are on paper now the worst car on the track. We've had no luck with upgrades this year whatsoever. So many have failed. So many have failed. And as such, we've fallen behind in our progression. But we're about level with Williams, as you can see there. And the field is narrower than it was, say, after Bahrain. So fingers crossed, we can still have a decent performance. We were in a really good run of form. 7th, 9th, 9th. 12th in France was decent. 17th, though, in Hungary was frustrating. And I've no idea what's going to happen here at Belgium with all of the chatter about the patch, etc. So I couldn't tell you what's going to happen. The only way we can find out is by going and doing some driving. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. Drop the video a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I will see you post-practice. Or maybe, actually. Yep, we're just going to be able to do it. 146.8. We're just able to do the qualifying, thing, practice program. So actually, that's not that bad. Evidently, you can quite easily see where we're gaining time and losing time. We're gaining time in the corners and losing all of it in the straights, which isn't necessarily great for when we start racing. But the softs will do 13 laps, so the softs are effectively a qualifying tyre only here, really. But it's not bad. It's not bad. Where did that put us? Just 7/10 off Charles, but obviously 7.5. Obviously, that's not necessarily reflective of their overall pace. Okay, so we'll take those resource points, and we'll be very happy with them. We'll retire from the session, and we'll go to the second practice session, and then try the setup alteration. And see whether we're faster with a preset or with a custom setup from simracingsetups.com. But P10 in first practice is pretty decent, and then we'll just have to wait and see what's faster, which setup is quicker. There is minimal difference whatsoever between the custom setup and the default preset 4. The car definitely felt more planted. So I will use the rest of the setup, but drop that down to where that was on the preset, just with aero. But the rest of the setup with pressures and suspension travel, etc., and camber of the tyre, I'm going to leave those set to the custom, and we'll do that. Right, I'm going to drop back to retire from the session. We'll get our resource points, but we do have to make sure that we remember to change our parts between now and qualifying, because we have some worn parts on the car that we certainly want to get off the car. A 47-1 from Teo. I did a 48-1. But again, that might be because we have some worn parts in the car, and hopefully we're a bit quicker than that when it comes to qualifying and the race. Our race pace has been better than our quali pace. No, our quali pace has been better than our race pace, for sure. But it's normally the other way around. Let me sort my parts out. So we're going to put in a relatively new CPU. The MGU-K. No, I'll put the new ones in because it's a power circuit, isn't it? So we'll put the new parts in. There's no point needlessly giving ourselves a bit of a down step. And then for other races, we can perhaps switch back. Gearbox at 32% is fine. For other races where straight line speed isn't quite so important, like Zandvoort, like Singapore, like Japan, then we can use those slightly older components. But for the straight line speed specific circuits like Spa, like Monza, I'm going to need those fresher parts. So we will skip straight to qualifying, put those new parts in, get our resource points, and then try and qualify. So an extra 800 or so, 802 I think it was from that. So it gives us just over 1100 now, which is a decent haul, but not, I don't think, enough to actually change anything else. Not of any real note, anyway. We'll head into qualifying, which supposedly was going to have some rain or drizzle at the beginning of it. We've got a fuel system fault, sorry, that we need to change at the beginning of the session, but that's fine. That'll only lose us a couple of minutes. And it does look like it's just quite simply dry tyres, so that's fine. Right, let's go and qualify then. A number of other cars choosing not to go out for a second run, which initially I thought was going to be a bit of a mistake, but we've not improved, basically, on our second run. We've not improved, so I'm not sure where we'll finish. P11 then in Q1. I'll take a P11 in Q1. I highly doubt we'll get through to Q3, but certainly a Q2 appearance is welcome. Alonso with a 5-place grid penalty that will be coming to him at some point after qualifying. So despite the fact that he's through to Q2, he'll be starting at best 19th, which is where Teo is. But it's really close, look. Only a 10th. 1.5 tenths, 1.5 tenths between 11th and 16th. We're only 2 tenths above Seb in 17th, so it's really tight. There's a big jump to the top 10, look. 3 tenths to Kevin, and then another 6 tenths to Valtteri. So real jump. Again, quali pace tends to be better than race pace for us this year, rather than the other way around last year. On F1 21, we used to qualify poorly but race well. And we qualify well. I wouldn't say race poorly this year, but certainly our race pace isn't as strong. So we'll go out and do a bank lap and then try and get through to Q3, but highly doubt that's going to happen given those Q1 times. Everyone other than a Ferrari and a Mercedes has gone out for a second run here. And we did a 46.1 in Q1. Can we improve on our Q1 time? Certainly improving on our first run. We get into the 45s. Yes, by 11 milliseconds, we're into the 45s. So a 46.1 got us P11 in Q1. And going a tenth of a second faster has gotten us P15 in Q2. So the other drivers have really stepped it up in the second qualifying session. Charles Leclerc elected not to go for a second run and very nearly paid the price by half a tenth, or just over half a tenth. Charles Leclerc makes it through to Q3. Both Mercedes very, very fast indeed. Carlos Sainz on well, provisional pole, but obviously there's another session to go. And we were 0.3 off Yuki, so we will probably more likely than not go slightly backwards in the race. But we do have on paper the worst car. We have to keep factoring that in. We do have on paper the worst car. We're still waiting for that development kick that's going to really see us become much more competitive. So we've actually had a better season than we perhaps should have done, given the quality of car we've got underneath us. But we're still enjoying it. Didn't feel like I was having any issues there with regards to many of the bugs that people have been reporting. So I'm all right. I'm happy enough so far. See how it goes in the race. Up to a 22% chance of rain at some point, but that's probably not going to be enough to warrant ever running on intermediate tyres. It will probably be dry tyre running throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. Mediums to hards, probably. And then, if there's a safety car late on, we might switch to the softs, but the softs really don't last long. 6 or 7 laps. 8 at a real push. 8 laps at a real push to be able to use them in the race. So unlikely that we'll use them unless there's a safety car of some description. Charles Leclerc does get pole in the end then, after putting in a respective lap time in Q3. Sainz in P2 though. Ferrari front row lockout. Alonso's the only one that we're aware of that's taken a grid penalty. Perez and Verstappen, Russell and Norris. Presumably then Lewis Hamilton's taken a grid penalty because there's no way Lewis Hamilton qualified that badly. Mick and K-Mag. Gasly 11th, Tsunoda 12th. I'm up to 13th, so a number of other drivers taking penalties. Hamilton with a penalty is right behind me. Alonso takes a penalty as well. He's dropped behind us too. Teo Pourchaire, P19. Albon, Zhou and Latifi. Zhou and Latifi both taking penalties too. So we qualify P15. We start P13, but expecting to go backwards, I would imagine, in the race. It recommends mediums to hards. And obviously, as we saw from our practice programs, tyre wear for me is actually higher than expected here. I'm curious to know what everyone else is starting on. The majority on the hards, those behind on the soft, and then the majority in front on the hards. So if you look at the race strategy, the difference between personalized strategies on alternate or default, there's really not that much in it with a 2-stop or a 1-stop. And I might be tempted to start on the softs and go for that 2-stop, but actually then go to the hards in the middle and then come back to the mediums. So extend that to 9 laps, then do 17 laps on the hards or 18 laps on the hards and 17 laps on the mediums. I think a 2-stop's probably going to be just as quick as a 1-stop for me here, and having the soft tyre run in there is hopefully going to make a difference. Now what we do fuel-wise, I'm unsure. 44 laps, of course. We'll put 45 laps worth of fuel in and we'll see what we can do. On paper, it's slightly slower, but I think in practice, I'll be quicker with the 2-stop over the full length of the Grand Prix than I will be with a 1-stop. But we only have 1 set of fresh medium tyres and 1 set of fresh hard tyres, of course. So if we do have to pit to any other set of any other tyre, they will be worn throughout the course of the Grand Prix. Right, that's what we're going to do then. A 2-stop. Formation lap underway. A number of different tyre strategies. Actually, I say a number. There's 3 different strategies, but all but 1 driver are on one of 2 strategies. Gasly in 11th is the only driver to start on the medium tyre. The only one to start on the medium. We fully expect Lewis Hamilton to come through and past us, of course, as we get going. And it looks like Gasly's going to go medium to hard, whereas it appears the others are going to go hard to medium. So they probably are still 1-stopping. Gasly probably is still 1-stopping. He's just going medium to hard rather than hard to medium. He's the only one doing it the other way around, though. Let's wait and see where we'll end up in this Grand Prix. Teo starting all the way at the back. Look, like we say, we expect to go backwards, but we are in the worst car. But we hope to still be able to pull something off and have a bit of an entertaining Grand Prix, even if it's not a super successful Grand Prix. At the end of the day, for you guys at least watching, entertainment is the most important factor. And to be fair, for me playing, I want to be entertained at the same time as obviously creating good content and being successful on track. Holding us for a lengthy time there. Oh my god, the wheel spin. That was awful. Wheel spin was so bad there. Able to hold P15 at least for now, he says, as the Aston Martin flies past me. Use a bit of ERS to stick with those in front. Still waiting to see if the straight line speed of other cars is as OP as others has been experiencing, but so far that was all right. I've got my teammate alongside me. We've just been able to get our nose ahead now. So yellow flag. Oh, that's someone in the wall. That's Lewis Hamilton. Not necessarily in the wall. I saw him coming back onto the track, but Lewis here. Where is he? Is that Lewis? This is Lewis. What's going to happen with him? He's going to come around here. Is he just going to lose it on the curve? I think he is. He actually has the back end step on him. And then he's just off into the gravel. So Lewis Hamilton off track, all on his own early on in lap 1. A little bit of a lock-up from Lance Stroll. Teammate's still alongside me, but we've been able to hold him off now. Now, Stroll is on the hards, so he should be, in theory, a little bit vulnerable here. He was a bit slower on the curve then than I thought he was going to be. I'm going to have to back out of the throttle a little bit here. Did actually slow down around there as well, and then get back on the throttle, back on the battery, on the ERS, and we'll go up the inside of Lance Stroll, and that eventually, once we hold the outside line here, is us up into P14. Getting back through the field. Good, nice, love that. Got a run on Seb. Use a bit more battery. I'm going to go for it. He's gone defensive, but I'm still going to go for it. Try and force a mistake out of Seb, which we have done. He locked up. Sorry, Sebastian. Bye-bye, pal. He made the mistake. We forced him into an error, and that's us up a position into P13. We're back where we started. Oh, he got a little bit shaky there. We got a little bit wobbly over the top of Radion. But with battery and DRS, we're able to maintain the gaps. It might be track specific, maybe, the straight line speed issue that you guys, or extra straight line speed issues you guys have been experiencing since the patch. Definitely better around that corner than the AI, that's for sure. They are faster out of the corner with no name than me. I've just figured out why Tsunoda's tucked up behind K-Mag. Kevin is on the hard tyre. I'm feeling they're all just going to disappear in front now, because they're all going to get DRS on one another down this straight. Hi, Seb! To be fair, it's only about 3/10. It's not massively uncompetitive. Not like Miami, where we were losing like 7/10. Yellow flags. Quickly changed back to green. Seb's having a look at me.
Green flag.
Not sure why there are yellow flags. It's behind again. Is it Lewis Hamilton having another nightmare? Because he's dropped back again, it seems, Lewis Hamilton off the back. It's Lewis Hamilton again, having an absolute nightmare of a Grand Prix. He's tucked up behind Lance Stroll, just get us a wobble again at the same part of the track, and then has to wait to come back on. Lewis Hamilton is having the worst race of his entire career. He's having a nightmare right now. As we come back, we're in a big old battle with Sebastian Vettel.
Okay, we've lost a position. That's us down a place.
To 14th. But hopefully, he says, hopefully, stick with Seb. I am really struggling for front downforce though. Really struggling for front downforce. We're going to be in a little bit of no man's land for a brief moment here. While Seb is going to disappear in front and Lance isn't going to massively close behind. At least I hope Lance is going to massively close behind. I'd be tempted to put the mediums on next, just to be as fast as possible. I'm just going to have to minimalise the amount of running I do on a medium tyre, on the hard tyre, I think. Because they're so much faster than me in so many areas that I'm going to need to be on as soft... Oh, need to be on as soft a compound as possible for as long as possible. Lance is going to have a look around the outside of Blanchimont. My guy's put his hand in the air there because I think Lance drove into me a little bit, but I definitely gave him enough space. So much slower than Seb in front though. So much slower.
We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
Not got any damage. The car just doesn't have that front end downforce with a heavy load of fuel on board. I'm going to get taken by Lance here. I've got Fernando right behind me in the Alpine. He's probably going to go defensive, which he's more than inclined to do. He's locked up massively. I'll have the position back, thank you, Lance. I think Fernando might have a look too, if you don't mind. Get DRS as well, thank you very much. Lance loses a position. Fernando's now going for it. Quite happy to sit behind Fernando here and take the DRS, to be honest. Force him wide. Is he going to make a mistake? No, he's not. It's good driving from Fernando. Good defensive driving. As I say, I'm literally just waiting for my front end in almost every turn. I can't get on the power because I've got no front grip. Alonso's on those hard tyres as well. So he's going a lot further than me in this race before pitting. Esteban Ocon all over my back bottom. See the lack of downforce and just how much faster everyone else is than us through that section.
Okay, we lost the position. Try to keep focus.
Be a little bit slower through here, so I'll have to ease off the throttle a little bit so I don't go right into the back of him. He's gone defensive early doors here. But again, no mistake from the Alpine driver. He's done really well. We're going to be pitting next lap. Here's Lewis Hamilton behind me now, having the worst race of his entire career. But still making his way back through every time. Ocon doesn't have DRS off his teammate, so I might be able to try and challenge for P15 here. He's not gone super defensive, he has gone defensive. I'm going to have to back out of that. He's slow around the corners as well, that's for sure.
Okay, we're
going to box this lap. Definitely slower in the corners, but they're just so fast in a straight line. Gone. I'm really bad at Pouon as well. Lewis is having a look up the inside into Pouon of all places. He's probably going to make it stick as well. I'll leave him room. He's still there. I'm going to go around the outside now. Holding the line. He's just got so much more grip than me. I'm kind of looking forward to pitting and getting off these really, really, really warm tyres now, to be honest. We've got Lance Stroll's just going to, well, pardon the pun, stroll right up to the back of me. Thankfully, we've got just enough with battery in a straight line to stay ahead. But we are boxing now. Hopefully my teammate doesn't come in behind me and he's got the intelligence to be able to not just fly into the pits behind me.
Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Okay, Stroll's got an issue, which is good news for me. But we're pitting for the first time. We're the first to pit as well. No one else is pitting on lap 9. That's probably because of our terrible tyre there. But maybe we'll be able to undercut a little bit. We'll wait and see. Nice quick stop. Really nice quick stop.
Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Well, let's try and get the tyre heat back up. And then try and close that gap. Now we find out whether this strategy is going to work for us or not. Had a little bit extra front end put in. 2 clicks of front downforce to try and give me a bit more bite at the front, but hopefully not lose anything in a straight line, or lose minimal in a straight line anyway. Now we see if this strategy works or not. We were originally going to go soft, hard, medium, but because we're as uncompetitive as we are, I want to spend as much time on the softer, faster compound as I can. So wants me to pit lap 27. I will try and go a bit further if we can. 17 laps on this tyre to then do 17 laps on the next tyre, though I'm almost certain we'll get lapped at some point. Right, is the undercut going to work at all? There's a number of cars in the pit. They all appear to be on their way out of the pit now. It's a case of who can get around this hairpin first. Put their foot down. And we are ahead of our teammate and one of the Williams. So we have actually gained some time on them there. Albon, intriguingly, has gone to another set of softs. Albon has gone soft, soft. A number of other drivers have gone soft, soft. Okay. So they're going to go soft, soft, hard, or soft, soft, medium. That's intriguing. Whereas with my teammate also going soft medium, and Yuki's gone soft medium as well. That's really intriguing. Didn't expect that. So with them on softs, they're still going to disappear down the road, unfortunately. But their tyres will wear super quick compared to ours. Like twice as fast. So the medium tyre does about 25 laps, and the soft tyre does about 13 on paper. So we did 9 on our softs, they did 10. So we're going to look to do 20-ish on our mediums, whereas they'll only be able to do another 10 or so on their softs. So expect everyone else in front of us that's gone soft to pit on lap 20-ish. Whereas we're going to look to go significantly beyond that. Nicholas Latifi in the pits now. In the other Williams, he pit a lap later than Alex Albon. We should take another position there as well. And indeed we will. So that's us up to P19 now. And with strategy, really not sure how this is going to pan out for those on soft. We might finish 19th. We might finish 14th. We might finish 21st. Who knows? It's really hard to tell when there are so many different strategies at play. But we can be safe in the knowledge that we know that the strategy that we're on is the fastest for us. Regardless of what everyone else is doing, we know that the strategy that we're on right now is the one that is going to get us to the end as quickly as possible, regardless of what everyone else does. Latifi's just taken my teammate though, which is not great behind. The Williams is now ahead of my teammate and going to start to close in on me.
5.1 seconds.
Now Albon's passed my teammate as well. Both Williams have seen off Théo Pourchaire. So the hope and anticipation is that we will just continue to close in on Lance Stroll until he has to pit off those hard tyres. We really are gaining on Lance something chronic now. The thing is, we both have one stop left. We're going to be going to the hard tyre. He's going to be going to either a set of mediums or 2 sets of softs. So Lance Stroll, despite the fact that we are much quicker than him now, he is going to be quicker than us at the end of the Grand Prix. It's going to play out in his favour overall lap time wise. It's just a case of whether he loses so much time on those hards and we gain so much time on these mediums that actually overall it pans out for us. Guan Yu Zhou is also dropping back through the pack, as you can see there as well now. Down to 17th now, Zhou Guan Yu in the Alfa Romeo. Still no sign of anyone else pitting at this stage though. So the grind continues as we start lap 15 of 44. That's just how slow the hard tyre is, which is exactly why I made that on-the-fly decision to go from the hard in the middle stint to the medium in the middle stint and just get as much out of the medium tyre as I can. Because the hard tyre is so much slower, whilst yes, it will last much better, I just want to make sure that I'm as fast as possible for as long as possible in this Grand Prix. Because we're as uncompetitive as we are compared to a number of the other teams. But we're holding station with the Williams on the softs behind us, which is good news. Just in general for our own competitiveness compared to the rest of the field at any track. Considering, again, as we've mentioned many times, on paper we have the slowest car, or at least joint slowest car with Williams at the minute. Still desperate for those aero and chassis upgrades to come in. We're much faster than Lance now. I mean, curious to know how long his hards last, or how long he sticks it out for on them. Might not be long before he dips for a set of mediums. But if his hards are this slow after 15 laps, then we really do need to make sure that our hards are run for as little time as possible. As you can quite clearly see, the speed differential between the hards and the mediums. He's just not going to have the grip to cope here, Lance Stroll, on those worn hards. And we will have P18 back, thank you very much. It's a terrible line around there, but still now need to go and close down on Zhou Guanyu. Fully expecting Lance Stroll to come back at us later in the Grand Prix. But hopefully track position will be better at that point than it is right now, because there's a real offset in the wear of our current sets of tyres. Latifi's just taken Stroll behind. So that Williams is starting to pick up some pace now on those softs, although Stroll is fighting back, which is only going to cost them both time in the long run, which is good news for us. 3.3 seconds the gap now to Zhou Guanyu, and Lance Stroll is now pitting. Now, whether that's for tyres or because he's had a bit of damage trying to get past or stay in front of Latifi, I'm not sure. Because Zhou Guanyu hasn't pit, and you imagine they're on the same strategy. So I'm intrigued to know if Lance Stroll has pit there purely for strategy, or because he's had a bit of a coming together with Alex Latifi. The race director will show us and tell us. And no, it's a stop purely for strategy. So Lance Stroll has done 17 laps on his hards, and that's how slow he was after 17 laps on his hards. So we're going to have to try and get this medium tyre to like lap 30, if we possibly can. I want to take them so much further, but they're already at 20% wear. And then my DRS is offline, which is great. Thankfully, I don't need it at the minute.
With the DRS, you will not be able to open the rear wing. We're working on a fix. Stay out for now.
Hopefully that won't be a problem by the time we close up on Zhou Guanyu, because I'd very much like to use my DRS to overtake the Alfa Romeo if possible. If it's unavailable, because there's an issue with it, then I can't use it, can I? 11, nearly 12 seconds to Esteban Ocon now. And we expect those soft runners to pit about lap 20. Although someone's in the pits now, I think. Indeed they are. So they're going to look to take their mediums to the end as well. It's Fernando Alonso. He's gone soft. And now he's going to try and take the mediums to the end the same way that Lance Stroll is trying to take his mediums to the end.
Okay, the gap behind is 3.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres.
There you go, he's pitting now.
18 laps old. We think they've got one more stop.
Just as we were asking about it, Mick Schumacher also in the pits, although he's coming out of the pits ahead of us now.
19.3 seconds.
So we're up to P17 for the time being, but Zhou Guanyu's going to go to mediums to the end, and we're going to be going to hards later. So I expect one of the Williams to pit this lap. And those in front that went soft, soft, medium are also
Our gap to the car in front is
pitting too. So that says to
9.5
me,
seconds.
if I've got another set of softs left as we actually come out ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon and up into P15, if I've got another set of fresh softs, which I do, I might also be able to go soft, medium, soft. But I'd have to take this set of tyres to that 34-ish to be able to do that. And I don't know as that's going to be possible. They're now going to have to do 24 laps on their sets of mediums, which is going to make them super slow at the end of the race. But whether they're so super slow that my newer hards will catch them or not, I don't know. Still a case of just trying to extend this medium set as long as we can, but I still think we're probably going to end up on the hards at the end of the race. So we are nearly 30% wear now on the rear, and we are over 30% wear on the front. And we are 12 laps into this stint, with the potential effectively halfway through if we wanted to go to another set of softs. And I don't think there's any scenario in which these tyres last that long. I'll try, but I don't think so. Getting lapped might be a saving grace, because that would mean we'd have a lap less to do on any given tyre, but there's not really much I can do about the speed of these guys on their fresh rubber at the minute. I'm going to fight it as best I can whilst trying to lose as little time as possible. Constantly giving Seb racing room. And that was a nice spell of driving there from both of us. Currently Max Verstappen is in the pits, but leading this Grand Prix after starting 4th. He's gone soft, hard, but he must be in the pits for damage then, because there's no way that he would pit this early off those hard tyres. Surely he'd go much further than soft, unless he's going soft, hard, medium, and maybe he's just going to run the medium tyres to the end from here. Maybe it is a stop purely for strategy, I'm not sure. But Leclerc has gone hard, medium, so he'll go to the end. George has gone soft, soft, medium, so he'll go to the end. Gasly is still going on his original mediums. I'm intrigued to know what lap times he's putting in. But it doesn't do that for Gasly. Only does it for me, which it should do for everyone. I'm doing 51s, basically. And it would be nice to know what Gasly's doing at this stage on those mediums, but unfortunately I can't tell. That might be another bug that needs to be reported with his latest patch. But we'll crack on from here after a short toilet break, and hopefully be able to get a decent finish still. Here he goes. There's not really much I can do about this. Seb's just got the straight line speed, unfortunately, and the fresh tyres. This is where Seb disappears into the distance. His tyres are like 11 laps younger than mine. And 11 laps around Spa is like 15 laps of another circuit. So he's just going to disappear into the distance, especially through this part of the track. There's not going to be anything I can do really from Pouhon onwards. I'm trying to stick with him, but easier said than done, unfortunately. Esteban is arriving behind at quite some pace. Mick Schumacher's falling back a lot, and I don't really know why. Esteban Ocon's having a look around the outside. I mean, he's probably going to get this move done. Indeed he does. Annoying, but out of my control. His tyres are a lot younger than mine. Mick Schumacher is struggles right now. I don't know why Mick is so slow, but he definitely is. Seb's going for him now. Battling hard. They're battling hard. Carlos Sainz out of the session. Carlos Sainz has retired in the Ferrari. That's going to be a place for us. That was in the third sector. Looks like probably just an engine failure of some description. And indeed it is. That Ferrari engine's let go on him. So Carlos Sainz is out. It depends what our tyre wear is like at the minute. But if we can stretch this medium set to lap 32, we could go on to softs. Tyre wear is now 40% on the front end though. And that would be still another 8 laps to go. I don't know why Mick Schumacher is so slow. I really genuinely don't. I don't think he's pit that long ago, to be honest. Mick's gone hard medium. So there's no reason why he should be as slow as he is, tyre-wise. Because his tyres are fresher than mine are. But Mick Schumacher is super slow right now. Carlos Sainz is... Well, actually, his car's just disappeared now. They've taken it. They managed to get it off track. But he did retire around about here. Mick's just slow in a straight line, I think. Is he? Can't tell. No, he's got some pace in a straight line. Hopefully Ocon and Vettel battle. Was I not within a second through DRS detection point? Come on now.
Catching the car in front by about a second a lap.
Not going to be close enough to get DRS. Ugh. I didn't think I dropped out of DRS range of Mick at all on the run up to the start-finish straight, but evidently I must have. His tyres are 6 laps old. Mine are 17 laps old. And now that he's been overtaken by Seb and Ocon, he seemingly found some pace again, Mick Schumacher. He must have just had an issue with his car that has now since been fixed. Now he'll disappear off into the distance again. That was really peculiar. Because I'll come out 19th if I pit. So we'll come out behind my teammate, I think ahead of the 2 Williams. Who's still back there? Lance Stroll is still back there, isn't he? So it's me, my teammate, Lance Stroll, and then the 2 Williams. So if I pit now and go on to hards, I'll come out ahead of the 2 Williams, but behind Lance and my teammate.
Grip is probably dropping due to wear, so don't be too aggressive.
Thanks, Jeff. Teammates in the pits. Okay, so Teo's pitting now on lap 30.
Teo's coming in for his stop
Surely
now.
he's going to hards then. There's no way he's going to take a set of softs from lap 30 to lap 44. I was, as I said before, really curious to see how far Teo took that set of mediums. He pit before... No, sorry, rephrase. He pit after me for the first round of pit stops by a lap. And he's now pit before me for this next round of pit stops. So I am almost certain that he will have gone to the hard tyre. Let's double check. Almost certain he's gone to the hard tyre. He has indeed. Soft, medium, hard, which was the strategy that we initially were going to run. But we have decided with chat, for those of you that are watching the YouTube highlights, we have decided with chat we're going to push on to lap 32. We initially were scheduled to pit on lap 27, actually. But we're going to push on to lap 32 and then strap on a set of softs and just gun it as far as we possibly can after getting lapped and try and maintain some sort of decent speed until the end of the Grand Prix and hope that maybe something goes our way safety car wise or with other retirements. So far only Carlos Sainz has had an engine blowout and is the only one currently that will fail to finish. Gap to the car in front is just growing and growing and growing. Zhou Guanyu behind is 3 seconds off me now and he doesn't have to pit again. So it's going to be a case of basically trying to get back to where we are, or maybe getting back ahead of Zhou Guanyu is asking a bit much, but certainly trying to finish ahead of Lance Stroll. That would be the aim from where we are now, to pit and then try and catch and pass Lance Stroll. As we passed Lance Stroll on track earlier in the Grand Prix, we're going to try and pass Lance Stroll at the end of the Grand Prix, but we will pit this lap 32 for a set of brand new soft tyres to take us to the end of the Grand Prix. Right, into the pits for the second and final time then. From set of softs to hopefully get us ahead of Lance Stroll. That's going to be the aim here, is to come out and end the race ahead of Lance Stroll. Optimal turn in, which is good. Quick pit stop, please, boys. Thank you. 2.4 seconds. Lovely jubbly.
Faster than we were expecting. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit.
There's
We'll receive a penalty
George
for
Russell
dangerous
and,
driving if you cross
well, it has to be
the
Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc, doesn't it? Now, that'll gain us some time. Those in front are actually having to actively slow down to let those guys through. Whereas, obviously, I'm not having to do that because they've taken me whilst I was in the pits. So that will actually gain us some time as well. Latifi getting a lot of sparks coming off the Williams there. Time to go and overtake Nicholas Latifi and then close that gap down to Lance Stroll. Whilst I say thank you to Butcher Attack for the 8th month subscribe. Thank you, mate. Lance hasn't yet let those front runners through. So he's still, even though the gap is closing, it's going to close yet further when he has to let those others through. I'd probably be best served sitting behind Latifi here and then just taking the DRS down the straight. So that's what we'll do. To be fair, he's got me in a straight line anyway, doesn't he, evidently? Oh, God. Sorry, Nick. Bye, Nick. Lance. Still not let those in front through. So the gap is now 5.7 seconds and he's going to have to move out of the way. And it's instantly dropped from 5.7 to 5.2. He has now to 4.8. It's cost him a second or so. No, it's cost him 2 seconds or so. 3.4 seconds the gap now. Come here, Lance. Give me that P17 back again. That is DRS on Lance Stroll. So we start lap 38 of what will be 43 for us. So still 6 laps to go. Tyre where he's going to be touch and go at the end of the race. They really need to close up though. I'm not going to give up DRS on Lance Stroll just to let them through. Fernando Alonso is out of the session. Why is Alonso retiring? Fernando is definitely in front of us. Is that Fernando? No, that's Esteban Ocon. That's why Fernando Alonso is retiring. Pop! His engine has certainly gone bang. Now, if that was a safety car, that would be perfect timing, so I could just nip in the pits here and get past him. I'm going to let these 3 all go. Go on, Max. And then try and get DRS off them all the way down the Kemmel Straight. And then we should be able to get Lance. There's Alonso DNFing, so that's going to be P17 for us, and then we're pushing for P16 with our finish. These guys are fighting for a podium. At the minute, Sergio Perez P3, Lando Norris P4, Max Verstappen P5. But it is very tight with them, as it is with me and Lance. And unfortunately, it hasn't quite worked out. We're just where we were with Lance Stroll. Still going to try and get past him. I still think we will get past him. I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to follow those front runners through though, and that hasn't quite worked out as I hoped it would. And of course, the longer we go, the more and more tyre wear comes back into his favour with our worn rubber on these softs. But we should get him this lap down the Kemmel Straight. We'd have got him last lap down the Kemmel Straight. We just obviously had to let those front runners through.
And that's just 5 laps of fuel remaining.
We have 5 laps of race remaining. No, 4 laps of race remaining. 40, and 41, 2 and 3. Lewis and Daniel Ricciardo right with each other through Sector 2. They're going to be the next cars to lap us. And quite frankly, I don't think there's enough time left in the race. Lewis had a nightmare Grand Prix that somehow he's going to come away with some half-decent points from. But I think tyre wear is starting to go into Lance's favour now. So I'm going to have to make the most of what battery I've got left to try and get him sooner rather than later and then hold track position. Otherwise we're going to find ourselves in a position where we can't take him. We've got straight line speed now. Yeah, we'll get him now. We'll get him now. Sorry, Lance. It's close though.
Brilliant. Nice.
It's really close.
Keep going.
We'll go deep on the brakes though. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, but we're not going to let him. That's us up into P16. And hopefully through this part of the lap, we can open up that gap a bit. Because we know he's not that fast around here.
No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
Okay, we've got half a second in hand. That should be the last bit of overtaking we do. And I don't anticipate us having to fight too hard to try and keep it, but I'm going to have to make sure I maintain my battery as best I can. Because Lance will stand the opportunity of coming back at us down the Kemmel Straight and into the bus stop chicane. George and Charles Leclerc still very tight through the second sector for that victory. Lance is too close. I'm in trouble. I'm in real trouble. I have to empty my battery.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
Just as well I saved some. That was why we saved it. And we needed it in the end to stay ahead of Lance at the end of the Kemmel Straight. But we will maintain P16. Yellow flags, briefly. Not sure what for. Might just be those in front trying to get past Zhou Guanyu and having a little bit of issue. Probably just Zhou moving right offline and going super slowly just to get lapped by those 3. Means the gap has dropped to 8.5 seconds, but we certainly won't be catching the Alfa Romeo. Again, I'm going to have to use my battery to defend from Lance, headed towards the bus stop chicane. His tyres are only just going to hang on for us.
Okay, gap ahead is 8.
Charles Leclerc wins the Grand Prix. Ferrari 1, Mercedes 2, and presumably Red Bull 3, McLaren 4 and Red Bull 5. I think those 3 are still in the same order, and we hopefully will be in the same order. I'm actually going to have to go defensive here on Lance into the bus stop chicane. I am not, thank you very much, losing P16 at the end. I am parking it on the apex and then nailing it for the line. It will be P16 for us here in Belgium. A tough Grand Prix that we worked well with strategy. There you go, Lance just nips past right at the death. I don't feel like there was too much of an issue there with bugs, etc. Straight line speed still a bit OP for the AI, but that was the same pre-patch, so I think we're about where we should be. Again, bearing in mind, we have, on paper, the worst car on the track. We are finishing better than we perhaps should be still. An 18.3 second first fastest lap. Fastest lap. Slightly bugged at the moment. But unfortunately Pierre outpaced us on this particular occasion. But at Zandvoort, hopefully we can get the better of him. There are 3 races remaining in our rivalry. We're getting closer and closer to going up levels as a team. 460k. Thank you very much to our sponsors. We need to be level 15 to get another sponsor, and we're not remotely close to that as of yet. Round 15 is next.
We should start considering where we can look to invest the profits we're making.
I am going to look to invest some profit we're making. Thank you very much. But firstly, I want to make sure that I spend some resource points on... Do I go for aero or... I've got loads of aero. I should go for chassis. Let's go for build time on the chassis. Spend 1.5 million there. And then we'll go into the R&D. Chassis-wise, we could do weight redistribution. That could help. But I can't do anything. Well, monocoque is done in 2 days, which is good. And heavy damper is done in 1 day, which is great. But the rest... See, I could go for weight reduction there. I might wait those 2 days and go for the weight reduction if it will let me do it. Please tell me that the monocoque structure is going to pass. It does. Good.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the
New bits on the car.
We'll have
Now,
them
can
at the
I...
next Grand Prix.
Good. Can I do the weight reduction? I can't. I need 15 more resource points. I need 15 more resource... That's what I want to do. I want to do the weight reduction there. That's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to wait and get those 15 resource points. In fact, we should get those resource points. We will get those resource points from the Pirelli Hot Lap. So I'll go and do that, obviously off YouTube, and then I will put on the weight reduction for the next upgrade for the car. That's what we'll do next. With regards to the performance index, we have now supposedly leapfrogged above Williams and are level with AlphaTauri, which is good news. We're making more progress. Good. This is what we've been waiting for, and we've got nothing else in development at the minute, so we're going to have to start plunging resource points back into that. But I'm happy enough. I'm happy enough. Right. Join me in the next one for the Dutch Grand Prix. But if you enjoyed this one, then drop the video a like. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and you won't miss out on any more. And of course, as ever, come and join me on the link in the description down below to Twitch. You can come and watch these live every time we do them. But for now, that's all for this YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.